Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Krebs, a DevOps engineer at Operaio. Besides being a DevOps engineer, I'm also deeply involved in our software testing, and some of you might already had the chance to exchange one or the other screenshot with me as a software support analyst. Now today I'm talking to you because we have changed the release process of our Operaio software products, formerly known as the ITnetics software products. So first of all, we greatly reduced the release cycles of our products to just one release every quarter year, because many of you have been unhappy with updating their software so frequently, so we have changed that. Also, we increased the efforts we put into our software testing so that we are able to deliver reliable and stable software releases on a quarterly basis for you. And as you can see, we also intend to deliver a video and a little newsletter to you for each release we're doing. Now, this video today is about the spring release of the Operaio ITSM portal, and I'm going to show you all the features that come with it. The video itself is split in several sections, one section for each feature I'm going to talk about. So for those of you who are in a hurry, just check the progress bar of the video below and you will find all the sections so you can jump to the sections that really matter to you. Now, before we begin, let me give you a quick overview of all the features I'm going to talk about. So we have some improvements in the end user portal regarding the announcements functionality. We added read-only request offering prompts. That's an addition to the display-only request offering prompts. In the analyst portal, the user picker now shows the filtered users as you type. You might know this feature already from the Service Manager console. And the analyst portal is now respecting the attachment settings you can do in Service Manager regarding the maximum file size you can attach to a work item or the amount of attachments a work item may have. Now, for those of you who don't have a customized form filling activity form already, we have added one out of the box for you if you need it. Then there's a nice feature that lets you convert incidents to service requests or vice versa in the analyst portal. And finally, we have removed the ticket overview sidebar from the analyst portal forms to improve loading performance of those forms. All right, so let's get into it. The first feature I want to talk about are the announcements improvements. Before we jump into a quick demo of those new announcements, I want you to note that we do no longer support creating announcements in the Service Manager console. You can still do that, and they will also show up in the portal, but only with their title and their expiration date. There won't be any content in them. The main reason for that is that we moved from a plain text format for the body to a HTML format, so you can have links or images or whatever inside your announcements. All right, so let's jump into it and I'll show you how these announcements look. So on the right side, you can see we have a critical announcement that we are out of Krabby Patties. And we have a medium critical announcement that the Krusty Krab will be closed until further notice. I think they have a dependency on each other. Could be. Now, until here, it doesn't look very different from what we know from the announcements. But one thing that is new is critical announcements will pop up to the user if he navigates in the portal. So you did not see me open the portal, but I will reload it now using F5. And as you can see, I get the critical announcement, including the body I defined for it, which in this case is that we're out of Krabby Patties, of course, and an image of SpongeBob and Patrick running around in panic. Now this pop-up will show up every time I open the portal, and it will show up every 2 minutes as long as I browse the portal, until I check this checkbox that I would not like to see this announcement anymore. So I click that, I click OK, and it goes away. Also on the right side, there's no longer that notification. So I can hit F5 once again, the pop-up will not show up anymore. The same is true for other criticalities of announcements. So for the medium announcement, I can also click Do Not Show Anymore down here, and it will just be removed and the whole sidebar vanishes if there are no more notifications to show. Now, for creating those announcements, you need to go to the analyst portal. And if you're updating from a previous version of the ITSM portal, you must make sure that you publish the administration view for the announcements, and as well that you map the new type projection for the announcements to the form that is delivered for you for the announcements. So I'm going to go into that announcements view, and I will create a new one by clicking this button up here. And that's the new form that we deliver with the ITSM portal. You can now enter a title here. Let's say, I don't know, the bus is late. This is a critical announcement for me. Why ever? I can set an expiration date somewhere in the future. And down here, I have the possibility to add any HTML content I like. For example, a link. Let's add a link together to, I don't know, Google. There you go. I would like to open that in a new window. I would like to add the HTTP prefix, of course. And there you go. There's my link. I will save that announcement. It is critical, so we will have a pop-up. If you do not want a pop-up for critical announcements, just check this checkbox down here. All right, good to go. Let's save it, open the end user portal, and reload the page. You can see the bus will be late, and I can click that link, and there you go. Very nice. This is all I have to show you for the announcement. Let's move on to the next feature. All right, let's continue to the read-only request offering prompts. To start things off here, I'm gonna show you my Service Manager console with the edit request offering dialog open of my demo offering for you. Down here, you see I've added 2 text prompts, nothing too fancy. They both have a different label, and I've configured them both to be a display-only response type. Now, further below, you can do an additional configuration to have them read-only. So let me show you the display-only prompt quickly, just to see what's going on behind that one. It's default configuration. I just added a default value to it. So this value down here should be displayed. If it was a read-only, it isn't, so we will only see the label of that prompt. Now the read-only prompt has a similar configuration. I did set a default value, this one down here, read-only default value. And I did check this checkbox down here that reads show value for display only, which is the read-only configuration. So if you have that checkbox checked, you will see that value right here. And I'm going to show you that in our ITSM portal right now. Let me just switch over. So there you go. We are in the service catalog of our ITSM portal. Right here is that offering I showed you in the Service Manager console. Now, if I open that one up, you can see that the display only prompt is showing its label as expected, but the read only prompt now has its input control there again, but it is locked as read only, so users won't be able to add anything in here. All right. Important for you to know is that a display only prompt will never add its value to the user input of the work item you create, whereas the read-only prompt will add its value. So if you need a read-only prompt that does not add this value to the user input, make sure you check that option in the configuration of that prompt. Also, there might be some of you out there that tried to create a similar experience with read-only prompts with query result prompts or external data query prompts to just show the user some data that he cannot delete or change. Now, if you are worried that your request offerings that use this little hack will get broken, rest assured, we took care of that. Any request offering that has query result prompts in there or external data queries will have this option for those prompts checked so that they are already read-only. So nothing will change, nothing will break. Your offerings will stay as they were. Okay, that's it for that. Let's move on. So the next feature I want to talk about is the user picker, which now filters for the users as you type. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that some of you might already know that from the Service Manager console. For those of you who never saw that feature, I will quickly demonstrate that to you in my Service Manager console. So what I have here is just an empty incident form, which I'm currently creating. And I would like to set my user as the affected user for that incident. So all I have to do is start typing my name. And as I do so, you can see that little drop down right here, making some suggestions of my input. So I've got my admin account here and I've got my user account. I'm going to select my user account by just clicking. That's basically all there is to it. And we have added that to our ITSM portal in a similar fashion. So what I have here is the same scenario as we had previously. We have an empty incident request form, and I would like to add my user as the affected user down here. So all I need to do is start typing my name and wait a little bit for that dropdown to populate. And as you can see, there again is my admin account. I've got my user account, and I can select one of both by just clicking it. All right, that's basically all there is to this feature. Just keep in mind that the user picker still has its old behaviors. For example, if you start typing your name and you just hit enter, you will open up the grid picker where you can have a more sophisticated search experience. Also, if you're one of those users who do not like to use mouse, you can use your keyboard. It's a bit limited, but still you can enter your name, wait for the pop-up to load. And now you can see there are two entries, and by hitting tab, the tab key, you will select the first one of this list. So if it happens that the first one is the user you would like to choose, just hit tab and it's selected. That's all there is to it. All right, let's move on. All right, let's talk about attachments. In the Service Manager console, you do have settings for each work item type, which allows you to specify how many attachments may be attached to such a work item type or how large each file may be. Until this point, the Analyst portal did not respect these settings at all, meaning that you could add more than 10 attachments to an incident, or you could add files larger than 2048 kilobytes in this case. Now, this is over. The Analyst portal now respects these settings, so I'll show you that in a second. So we do have a new incident form right here, and I can use that button down here to add some attachments. Now you can see I've prepared some files. I have 12 files, 11 of which are just 1 kilobyte, and the last one is larger than the specified, or let's say the allowed file size of 2048 kilobytes. So if I want to attach more than 10 files, I should get an exception of some sort. Let's see what happens. And as you can see, I get this pop-up up here that notifies me that I cannot add more attachments than 10. The same is true if I want to add a file that is just too big. If I do that, I get the notification that my file is too big. Of course, I can add exactly 10 attachments. That should work without any issues. Give it some time to upload. And there you go. The attachments are there and the action log entries are added. So far, so good. The next feature is explained quite quickly. We did add an analyst form for the Operaio form filling activity work item type, also formerly known as the ITnetics form filling activity or even the Silence form filling activity. So if you go into the portal, I have a form filling activity view prepared already. And if I open up such a work item, I will see that new form, which we added to the portal for those of you who did not already create your own one. So that's all about this one. Let's move on. Now to a more exciting feature. We did add 2 new console tasks to your Analyst portal, which let you convert an incident to a service request or vice versa, a service request to an incident. Let me quickly show you what I mean. I do have an incident prepared right here. You can see that I have defined some properties like the title, the description, classification category, and so on. We do have an affected user, we do have an assigned to user, as well as an affected configuration item. In addition, we do have an action log entry added. We do have 2 analyst comments, one of which is private, and we have a file attached. Also, in the related item tabs, you can see that I did add a related work item. That's all about this incident, and now I'm going to convert it by just clicking the Convert to Service Request button on the right side. Now the portal needs some time to do the conversion, and as you can see, I do have a service request now. It has the same affected user. It has me as the assigned user. We have a high priority and we have a low urgency. Those got mapped from the impact and urgency enumerations from the incident, and as well as the source, which is the portal. Now on the right side, you can see that our action log entries are here from the incident, so that has been taken over. But additionally, you can see that I have executed the task and that this service request has been converted from this incident. Down here, you can see that we got the affected config item related as well. And the same is true for the problem record that I had related to the incident. Also, you can find the attachment up here, that's added as well. So I can save this service request and we're done converting. If we go back to the previous incident we had and reload its form, you can see that it's now being resolved. And if you go and have a look in the resolution category, you can see that there is a resolution description that this incident has been converted to a service request. Now, if you're curious how the mapping works behind with all these enumerations and the affected user and so on, you actually have a configuration file in your ITSM portal folders. I will show you quickly where exactly this is. So if you are in your ITSM portal installation folder, just go to the web root folder, and inside there you will find a settings folder in which there is a copy task settings JSON file. The file itself looks like this. You have the definition up here that this is the mappings for converting an incident to a service request. Further below, you will find the other way around, where you have a service request which will be converted to an incident. Now, in these mappings, you have the property mapping, where you can say which property should be mapped to which property of the service request, for example, including enumerations like the source, the tier queue, and so on. Of course, the portal does not really know what enum value should be mapped to which, so you can define this down here, or you must define it. If the portal cannot find any matching mapping down here, it will just leave that property empty in the service request or the incident, depending on what you're converting. Then further for the relationships, you have the alias mapping down here, where you can map the affected user, assigned user, as well as the action log entries and so on. And then at the end, you have the last option, which is change source. And we have seen that in the incident, you can say that you want, for example, in this case, where we have converted from an incident to a service request, that we would like the source incident to be in status resolved, and as well as add a localized string. So you will find a translated string in the resources file of the ITSM portal, which will map this expression right here to the text we saw, depending on the language you've set for your portal. Okay, that's about this feature. Now for the last feature, I'm going to show you the analyst portal once again. Now, some of you might already have noticed during the video that whenever I showed you an analyst portal form, that there is the side panel missing on the left side, where there is a grid view displaying that view you had opened previously. So for example, if you had the My Work Items view opened, and you clicked a work item in there, its form would open, and on the left side of that form, you would have your My Work Items view a little bit smaller than before. The problem with that is, depending on how much data this view has to load, it can increase the loading time of your form significantly. So we decided to remove it. Now, for those of you who do not like that change and would like to have that side view back, that's no problem actually. Just have a look at your app settings JSON file of your ITSM portal. Scroll through all the settings you can find here, and if you go to the analyst portal settings, you will find a setting called Show Ticket Overview Sidebar. If you set this value right here to true, save it and restart your website, the view will be back. Alright, that's actually everything I've got for today's video. I hope it was helpful to you to understand the new features that are coming along, and of course I hope you like the new features. If you have any feedback for us regarding this video, the newsletter, or any product or service in general, please do let us know. Write us an email at customer@operaio.ch. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. Also, if you have a specific feature in mind and you would like to see that in one of our products, just visit the service catalog of our support portal at support.operaio.ch, where you can request these features. And of course, if you found any bugs, you can report them there as well. Now, there's nothing left to say. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.